Alright guys, I'm going to be doing a handgun review today. Go ahead and unload the handgun. This is actually a revolver review, and on my card here I have a few things that I would like to talk about. Let me start off by saying this is a new form of recording I'm doing. As I move my head around, you can see the camera moves. That's because I'm using a cap cam. And honestly, I think this is going to be a new way to record on YouTube. It's going to be very good, and a lot of people I think might do this if they see this video, and how easy it is to get good camera shots. But I'll talk about that later. In every single video I probably make, I'm going to address that, just to remind people. But I'm going to start out by saying this is a Taurus Model 82, and this gun is actually an older version of the Taurus 82. They have a newer version that is just, well, they offer it in blued, I think, and stainless steel. This is a nickel finish one, so it's a little bit older. It has a pin barrel. The chambers, unlike a Smith & Wesson, when the barrel's pinned, they are not recessed at all. So there's an unshrouded ejector rod. There's no Taurus key safety. Basically what I like on a bare bones revolver. I'm going to start off by going down my list here. My first one is use. What do I see the Taurus Model 82 being used for? One, it would make a good truck gun. I'll explain that in a second. You could probably conceal it, but the weight is going to be generally a factor, and I'm going to talk about that. It kind of ties everything together here. I'm talking about the barrel length too. Being a 4-inch barreled gun and weighing as much as it does, and it's not too heavy. It's a good kind of heavy, but it's generally not a gun you're going to conceal. I mean, you could probably pull it off, but I don't think so. It's just not small enough to be concealed regularly. It's a good target gun and a good home defense gun. That's probably where it shines the most. A truck gun, it would be good, but like I say, if you want a truck gun, you should probably grab up a high point 9mm, or even better, a high point 380. That's actually a lot cheaper than 9mm in my area. But a truck gun is something you just keep up under the seat, and generally a revolver, it can be a better choice than an automatic pistol, a semi-automatic. Truck guns are cheap, though. They have to be cheap, and this, like I'll talk about in price, which is like my almost last talking point, they're not too expensive. I'll go ahead and hit it right now. Ballpark price on this is probably anywhere from $280 to $350, and that's new. So again, not too bad, not too bad. I got this one for $200 used. So barrel length, like I said, is 4-inch revolver. That's going to give you good accuracy. And how about the accuracy? That generally depends on the sights, and I have to take my hat off to actually align the sights here. And the sights are fixed. Bummer, right? Well, not too bad. They're generally looked at as combat sights, but I'll slip my hat back on. So, I mean, I don't find that to be generally a big deal, as if they're looked at as combat sights. So, again, these fixed sights are a lot more rugged, and they're pretty nice. They're kind of small, though. For fixed sights, I wish I would make them a little more bigger. And I could contrast the front blade just a little bit more and paint it or something. That would look a lot better. But, again, handling, recoil, and ease of use, that's a pretty easy gun to shoot as long as you know what you're doing. And I'll go ahead and dry fire it, I guess. And you know how to fire your trigger to where it's a compressed surprise break, which means staging the trigger about to right there, in which you can do in a split second, and then easily pushing it to when you don't know when it's going to go off, and the gun basically goes off when you don't expect it to. That's basically what a compressed surprise break is, and you can get good accuracy with that because you don't flinch. There's no way you can flinch, and that's how you're supposed to shoot a handgun. If you just pull it up like I did the first time and just yank the trigger, boom, you're going to not hit the target too well. And a lot of that is the trigger pull. Talk about that later. But handling, recoil, There's barely any recoil to this, especially since I added these rubber grips. I'll talk about that later, another mental note. 38 plus Ps, they don't have any more recoil, but you definitely see the flash and the blast a lot more. It's like a 357 downrange. There's a lot of fire. And actually, if I shoot regular 38s, I'll get an orange and yellow kind of fire just to kind of pop out of here in the barrel. When I shoot plus Ps, that fire coming out of here is blue. So that shows you how much more power they have. And as far as power is, the cartridge it fires is a 38 special. It's a general mid-type caliper. On guns with a 4-inch barrel like this, the 38 has time to burn the powder in the casing and send the bullet out at a little faster velocity. If you had a snub-nose gun, aka a 2-inch barrel, about that long, you're not going to get enough time to burn all the powder out, and that bullet basically is not going to go very fast, and it's going to end up about as weak as a 380 automatic. So out of a 4-inch barrel, it's similar to a standard pressure 9mm if you use plus Ps. Standard pressure 38, a little bit less, but they're slightly more than a 380. Like I said, of a snub nose, the 380 actually beats a 38 special snubby in one-shot stop capability. But the 38 is a fairly proven man stopper with the right loading. Highly suggest you go with the jacketed hollow point loading. This is actually a semi-jacketed hollow point made by Winchester, 125 grain. It's basically a white box load, but it will get the job done at close range. Another good one would be the, let's see, I think they make a CCI hollow point for this. I think that's either standard or plus P. The Federal Nightclad is another one that might do the trick, but the reason I say might is because they look so blue and they're kind of weird round. But Critical Defense by Hornady, both in the plus P or standard pressure, that's not very proven, but I know it's a good stopper just by looking at it. Federal low recoil personal defense Hydroshock, that'll get the job done. There's a lot of loads. Corbon is the #1 plus P load, and standard pressure I'd probably go with Critical Defense in a 4-inch barrel. And the reason I say that is because the Nightclads, Federal Nightclads, made to be fired out of a 2-inch barrel, and when you get the more velocity from the gases burning and the powder burning, you're basically going to make the round tear apart. Generally speaking, that's what I see in water testing anyway. I could be wrong. Cartridge, I already covered that. See, ballistic potential. Capacity, it's a 6-shot revolver. No frills, 6 shots. You should probably be able to get it done if you know how to shoot. 6 shots, you can take headshots if you want, but I mean, if you know how to stage a trigger, double action combat style trigger, you can basically get it done in 6 shots. And a lot of people, they panic. If you keep cool, you'll get it done. If you panic and just start pulling the trigger, you might have to reload. You might run some problems. But I was talking about the trigger earlier. I'll go ahead and just kind of pull it again. It's kind of it's a hard trigger, and actually after shooting it a little while, this part starts to get sore from the roughness of the trigger here, but it's smooth. I mean, you pull it, there's no real roughness. It starts out pretty tough and it gets a little bit lighter as you go back. Single action, it's almost like a 1911. There's no take up, and I kind of don't like it because there's too much travel. If you see what I'm talking about, when you pull the trigger, it just comes back like that. There's no coming like this. It just breaks. But it's not that bad. So the trigger, it's not the Smith & Wesson trigger, but it ain't a Smith & Wesson. Trigger seems to be about 10 pounds. I'm guessing 8, 9, 10, something like that. Size is about the size of a Smith & Wesson K-frame. If you don't know what that is, you probably should be watching this video because that's basically universal size. It'd be about the size of the Model 10 Smith & Wesson to give you relevance. And you can see my hand. It's not a very... Alright guys, didn't realize my battery had died there, but I was talking about the size of the gun. I stopped. I was about to talk about comfort, but we're going to go ahead and pick it up in part 2.